Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and sometimes when I'm looking for stuff to do videos on, there just doesn't seem to be anything, and then all of a sudden it explodes, and all of a sudden there's things everywhere. That's how this space works. Before we get going, I want to show you this from my partner Caleb and Brown. Big Moves this week showed how fast crypto can swing and how too often exchanges buckle under the stress. We saw multiple exchanges go down where you could not trade. You might not have even been able to log in. It was not that way at Caleb and Brown. I was able to put a trade through on the same day of the crash, and I know other people that did too. Grabbed those prices when they were. I was talking to somebody that's a Caleb and Brown customer that was able to grab XRP at $1, I think $1.80 something on the major dip part. I didn't get that lucky, but just by sending an email to their broker and the thing goes through in like maximum 3 or 4 minutes, and I think he said like 1 minute, and gets a trade execution, a PDF attached with the exact trade and how it went and all that. Very cool. If you want to open a Caleb and Brown account, we made it easy. We created a domain at xrpwealth589.com, and it forwards you right to our page on Caleb and Brown. You just click sign up today. We've got a 248 XRP. The market's kind of flat today, but this isn't flat. Bank XRP put this out. Brad Garlinghouse was at DC FinTech today. I'm going to play you. I haven't had a chance to go through the whole thing, but there's some clips being put out, and here's one of them I'll play you.
Well, so I think to some degree, the whole lawsuit for Ripple was about what is Ripple, which is a privately funded company that raised venture capital and issued stock associated with that. Those are securities. What is XRP, which is a technology, an open source technology that is kind of native to our products. We use XRP in our product stack, but there are scores of other companies building in and around the XRP ecosystem. People will say things like, well, XRP has a CEO, and I'm like, who is it? Ripple has a CEO, that's me. There's scores, if not 100 other CEOs building around the XRP ecosystem. And I think that's when I hear people say that, I think, okay, they're not educated about.
They are educated. They're actually saying it to intentionally make it look like XRP is a security when they know it's not. And it's because of their fear of people putting their money into XRP instead of Bitcoin usually.
What's going on, and so we need to educate people. Obviously, you see that in a number of other tokens where there's a very distributed, very open source community. People don't understand. Ripple does not control XRP. It is open source. There have been amendments passed to the XRP open source technology that we opposed. We were against them and they still passed. That's okay. That's open source technology. There's other things we have championed that have passed, but it takes 80% of the community approving those amendments, which Ripple doesn't have control of that.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, if you were to define kind of what's a commodity versus a security, how would you do that?
Yeah, I'm going to do everything I can to dodge that question up here.
All right, and then this is hilarious right here. Patrick Bet David had Anthony Pompliano on, and I went ahead and reminded Patrick Bet David that Anthony Pompliano has always known all about XRP, all the way back to 2017, but somebody quieted him down about it. But it looks like Anthony's finally, no, he's always had his mind around it. But now he's trying to backtrack a little bit. I think he's starting to see the writing on the wall.
And so I think that Bitcoin is the king of the crypto market.
First, he has to BS you a little bit about Bitcoin.
Market is going to remain the king of the crypto market. And I think it's probably the only truly institutional asset that you're going to see central banks and others start to buy over time.
What do you think about XRP, the conversations with XRP, with Ripple, whether it's the technology or the coin?
I think that the market is very, very good at figuring out where value ends up accruing. And what you see.
That's a lot, too, because the market couldn't figure out where value was over the last decade because Bitcoin had a regulatory monopoly, and briefly they gave a regulatory monopoly to Ethereum too with the Bill Hinman Ethereum Free Pass. The market was never able to determine what was the best digital asset, and he knows it.
See in, let's call it outside of Bitcoin in the top 10 coins, what you will start to see is Bitcoin's dominance has not only remained constant, it's actually gone up.
But it's had a regulatory monopoly, so you haven't seen it in a free market, what it'll do.
Over time. And so I think that the market is assigning Bitcoin as kind of in a class of its own. Now, if you then go into, let's say, coins 2 through 10, what you start to find is those are much more akin to me to like technology stocks. There's a lot of competition there, right? So take XRP. My understanding is that they have a couple of different things that they've done. They're trying to do the stablecoin, right? Well, they've got a lot of competition from Tether, Circle. Now all of a sudden Stripe's getting in the game. Like there's a whole bunch of competition. There will probably be multiple winners, but it's heavy competition. On top of that, one of the things that is interesting to me, not so much about XRP, the coin, but about Ripple, the company, is they have this kind of engine to generate profit and monetize that.
Now you're getting it.
That XRP. They've started to acquire real companies. So what they did is they bought, I think one of the companies.
What they did is they used XRP as a strategic weapon that you guys pretended not to be able to get your mind around. That's the reason that you've seen everybody go after XRP all these years is because they knew that XRP was being used as a strategic weapon to build this mammoth.
It's called Hidden Road, and these are like big acquisitions. These aren't like $5 acquisitions. These are like $1 billion+ acquisitions that they're doing.
Rob, can you pull up companies Ripple acquired?
And so what you're starting to see is, again, there's incredible controversy and debate, I think, over is XRP going to be sustainable? Is it something that people are going to use? But what they've started to do is they started to take them. I mean, look, $200 million acquisition, $1.25 billion acquisition, $250 million acquisition, right? And so what they're doing is they're essentially
That's called plans within plans, Pomp.
Using the monetization of their balance sheet, and they're starting to acquire real companies. Now, what I will say is we have seen this happen in traditional finance over time. You have a company that has very controversial or maybe unsustainable kind of business model, but they have some access to capital, and they begin to convert that into something else. And look, the Bitcoin treasury companies, a lot of them had companies that weren't working, and they said, well, why don't I just start to buy Bitcoin? And all of a sudden, they kind of revived their business. And so I think that this is very interesting. Now, there's kind of a delineation between XRP and Ripple, but I think that this acquisition stuff, people in the industry, even the people who don't like XRP, I think are saying to themselves, hey, that Hidden Road, that's a real company. Pay $1.25 billion for it, right? Yeah. Okay, you may be able to end up with an entire set of infrastructure there that you can then go and actually build a business with.
What does Hidden Road do?
Hidden Road, if I remember correctly, they do a lot of, it's like market infrastructure, right? So like, again, it goes back to this idea of where value accrues.
Let me translate all this for you. The XRP army saw what these guys, in my opinion, wanted to pretend like they didn't see, or maybe they saw it, and that's why you've seen everybody come after Ripple and XRP all these years, including the lawsuit.
In the crypto industry is really kind of two, and really in finance in general, there's two buckets. You have the retail-facing platforms, and then you have institutional-facing like infrastructure. And so the retail platforms, that's your Coinbases, Binances, Geminis, Tethers, all those guys. But then you've got this like institutional infrastructure, everything from market making to, here you go. So like a global credit network for institutions, prime brokerage, clearing, financing, right? All this stuff that is very institutional in nature.
Is it like a Pershing? Is that what would it be considered? Is Hidden Road company Ripple acquire like a Pershing company? What is a Hidden Road? Yes, it is. Okay, sounds good. So I got it. I understand it. Okay, I mean, that's a big deal to buy something like that at 1.25 billion. And the guy that's running it, I think his name is Brad. I can't say his last name. Yeah, he seems like a very intellectual guy. He's involved on I've seen him with the Trump administration, a couple different things with them. But he doesn't just sound like one of these guys that came and created a coin. Hey, let's sell a bunch of stuff and then let's go. They're actually creating technology and buying technology. Good for them. So you're optimistic because you hear some people talk about Ripple could replace Swift. Possibility of that, of course, the likelihood of that happening is less than 5%.
I wouldn't go that far. In terms of, I think, I know.
It comes down to percentages, folks.
I think Brad is a nice guy. I think that the strategy that they're pursuing at Ripple is, if you were in their situation, I think it's very smart. to go and acquire these businesses. I've always just said that, my focus is on Bitcoin because I think of that there's two problems in the world that I care about, and they're very interrelated. The first is I believe that the single biggest issue, if you can correct this one issue, it will have a profound impact on people's lives around the globe, is if you can basically stop the debasement of the currency. If you can...
And XRP's better for that, and he knows this too. XRP's better for that than, and by the way, he used the term debasement because that's their new PR term to try to get more money to go into Bitcoin. Is the debasement trade. This is their new marketing term. Somebody somewhere, write it down. They sat in a room, a PR firm, and they said, let's come up with a term that we can go to the next stage of this thing. We'll call it the debasement trade.
Stop that. Then all of a sudden...
And then they probably sent out an email to all of the PR network, including Anthony Pompliano, and said, debasement trade, that's the new term.
Now what you do is
the password is debasement trade.
You stop this silent theft, and now you allow people to actually keep the economic value that they've worked hard to earn.
You can keep it better with XRP because XRP has that same limited amount, but it's deflationary. XRP is burned on every transaction. He knows that too.
And so Bitcoin to me is the solution to that problem. There's kind of this heuristic of people have been complaining about this for decades, centuries.
Okay, we don't have to listen to any more of the Bitcoin stuff. Federal Reserve Governor Stephen Moran says 2 more interest rate cuts this year is realistic. Sounds good to me. Gold soars to 4,200 for the first time in history. And then remember when Jim Rickards, wait, I wanted to show you, did I get things out of order here? Let me see. Yeah, I did. Check this out. Jamie Dimon says it makes some sense to own gold in today's market, though he won't say if it's overpriced. Speaking at Fortune's Most Powerful Women Conference, the JP Morgan Chase CEO noted gold could rise to 5,000 to 10,000. Now, cue Jim Rickards from back July 11th, 2025.
But my point being, it's been done twice before. Ken Trump and Steve Moran and others in the White House, Scott Bessent, Secretary of the Treasury, pulled this off for the third time in 50 years. Well, my point is, it's a good question rhetorically, but that's what they're doing. So don't fight the Treasury on this. The dollar is going to go down more. It's going to stay down. And for people to say it has to bounce back, this is not driven by the market. This is being engineered by the Treasury. Well, what happened in the 1970s? Gold went up 2,700%, and one of your esteemed panelists, Frank Justra, made that point yesterday. So gold's going to go up a lot. It does it in stages. I would expect $4,000 an ounce by the end of this year, 2025, but much higher in the years to come. If you just took the two great... There were no gold bull markets before 1971 because the world was on a gold standard. Gold didn't go up or down. I always tell people, if you want to make money in gold, don't root for a gold standard because you can't make any money. But from 71 to 1980, gold went up about well over 2,000%. From the other bull market, 1999 to 2011, rather, it went up about over 600%. So if you just take a simple average of those two bull markets, you would say that this has the two things. This has years to run, and gold doubling is nice. I love it, but it's probably going to go up maybe 5 or 10 times.
Sounds good to me. I'll take it. I've got my gold stash. Most people watch charts, but the smart ones watch M2. M2 is the global money supply, and Bitcoin follows it, which means all crypto follows it. Look at that global money supply, how it's leading. It's coming, folks. And I'll be accumulating as long as everybody thinks it's not coming. We're going to go into DAIXRP.com. I'm going to show you what the big picture, folks. You want to know how big this whole Ripple XRP thing is? Well, you come tune into this. Go to DAIXRP.com for the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click join below any of these YouTube videos. If you'd rather join through X, go hit subscribe. You get the full video and the extra video with no commercials. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.